Hello friends, I am Dr. Shamshuddin. I welcome you civil services classes. In this class, I am going to discuss must read the books, a practical guide for civil services aspirants. Let us begin the class. For UPSC and KPSC aspirants, motivation is not a one-time push, but a sustained mindset. Books play a huge role in such situations. I will give you a list of motivational books with answers the following questions. What the book is about, why aspirants should read it, how to read it. It means approaches to read the books. Key takeaways for UPSC and KPSC preparation. Wings of Fire, written by APJ Abdul Kalam. Why to read this book? This book inspires you to dream big despite humble beginnings, shows how discipline plus vision can change destiny. How to read this book? Read slowly, reflect on Kalam's struggles, and map them to your journey. Takeaways. Dream leads to plan, plan is to work, and work is to achieve. Hard work plus humility equivalent to greatness. Adversity is an opportunity. This book will help you to understand what is your real goal. Second book is Ignited Minds. It is also written by APJ Abdul Kalam. Why to read? This book helps aspirants build a vision for the nation, essential for writing UPSC essays and ethics papers. How to read this book? Pick one chapter a day. Connect it with current affairs. Key takeaways. Nation building is linked with personal responsibility. Education plus innovation are tools of change. The difficulty of being good. It is the third book written by Guru Charan Das. Why to read this book? This book explains ethics and dharma from the Mahabharata, highly relevant for ethics, GS paper 4th, and moral dilemmas in interviews. How to read this book? Read case studies on Yudhishthira, Bhishma, Karna, and reflect on decision making. Key takeaways from this book. Dharma is about tough choices, not black and white rules. Leadership is nothing but it is a moral courage. One has to have a moral courage to become a good leader. Fourth book, India After Gandhi, written by Ramchandra Guha. Why to read this book? This book motivates by showing how India survived challenges post 1947, relevant for polity, history, and essay. How to read this book? Don't read cover to cover at once. Pick themes such as democracy, governance, social change, etc. Key takeaways from this book. Democracy thrives on patience. Leadership requires vision and compromise. Fifth book, The Alchemist, written by Paula Coelho. Why to read this book? This book teaches persistence and believing in one's dream despite setbacks. Perfect for long UPSC preparation. How to read this book? Read like a story. Reflect on how personal legend equivalent your UPSC KPSC dream. Key takeaways from this book. The journey matters as such as the goal. When you want something deeply, you align your actions with it. Sixth book, Atomic Habits, written by James Clear. Why to read this book? This book gives a practical guide for building steady discipline, breaking procrastination, staying consistent. How to read this book? Apply one principle each week, 2-minute rule for note making. The key takeaways from this book. Success is equal to small habits done daily. Systems is greater than motivation. Environment shapes discipline. Seventh book, Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, Stoic Philosophy. Why to read this book? This book helps aspirants manage stress, anxiety, and failures. Stoic mindset is key for 2 to 3 years UPSC journeys. How to read this book? Read a passage daily in the morning. Treat it like meditation. Key takeaways from this book. Focus on what you control, that is effort, not results. Discipline over emotions. Resilience is a muscle. Eighth book, You Can Win, written by Shiv Khera. Why to read this book? Classic motivational book on self confidence and positive thinking. How to read this book? Pick short stories or examples. Write key lines in a journal. Key takeaways. Attitude decides altitude. Self belief fuels perseverance. 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 Ninth book, The Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle. Why to read this book? It helps aspirants fight overthinking, regrets of past attempts, and future fears. How to read this book? Don't rush. Read slowly. Practice mindfulness while studying. Key takeaways. Live in the present moment. Preparation improves when mind is calm. 10th book, Success versus Joy, written by Geet Sethi and MP Anil Kumar. Why to read this book? This book shows difference between chasing marks and enjoying learning. How to read this book? This book reflects on how UPSC preparation is not just about rank but about transformation. Key takeaways from this book. Balance ambition with joy of learning. True success is inner growth. Final advice for civil services aspirants. Don't just read, apply lessons in daily preparation. Maintain a motivation diary. Write 3 takeaways from each book. Use books as a mental break from heavy syllabus, not as procrastination. If you think you can, and you will. ನೀನು ನಂಬಿದರೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಮಾಡಲು ತೀರ್ಮಾನಿಸಿದರೆ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡುವೆ. Decision is yours. Any queries? ಜ್ಞಾನಮೇವ ಜಯತೆ. ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್.